For being not one of the best or most creative or most interesting episodes of the season in my opinion, it did feature one of the biggest character moments of the main character Tylor. And this is definitely a big moment where the rest of the season will probably be a little bit different. Or will it just forget about it and reset it? Because it left me a little bit confused. Okay, I feel like I have to explain myself better, so be sure to stick around. We will talk about this moment first. Hi fellow Disney Plus watchers, this is Thoughts After a Disney Plus Watch, where we review everything new Disney Plus coming out, and I'm glad you are watching. This is a channel that's specifically about movies, shows, and all that's Disney Plus original stuff. So just a fair warning here before we start, I do want to discuss spoilers to really do this episode justice, so you can press that watch later button if you haven't seen it yet. Still here? Let's do this. Okay, what I will do like I do every week is also go through this episode like somewhat beat per beat, but let me first say something about that moment where Tylor is finally being allowed to be a jokester, but still letting his conscience speak and deciding to go back for Adorable, previously known as Abominable. It's one of the key moments in this season so far, so I thought, because it will be undone by the next episode. Because when I randomly decided to already started looking at the description for the next episode, episode 8, and I won't tell you the full description just in case, it said this one thing: Tylor sees an opportunity to get promoted as a jokester. Okay, but am I the only one who thinks that this moment in episode 7 should have been a Tylor it's now or never moment? This emergency program where we put you guys at work, all of you who are not trained as jokesters because of this extreme heat that has been going on, this is your chance to show those of you who are doing a great job here might become jokesters. It's now or never. It's even stated within the briefing at the beginning of the episode, whoever's number 1 on the leaderboard will officially, like, immediately become a jokester. Well, going back to the moment where Tylor knows he has abandoned his friend, or at least someone with a good heart who sees him as a friend, and him standing there asking himself, what choice do I make? Do I stand up for others, or do I pursue my selfish dream that will make someone else's life miserable again? Is becoming a jokester right here and now worth abandoning Adorable? Because he has a dream too, you know, to go back to Monstropolis and, you know, not be abandoned. So he puts his selfish needs behind him and decides to retrieve the door so Adorable, previously known as Abominable, can return home. Great, something like this was bound to happen. Tylor being really close to his dream, but him sticking up to his friends who are ultimately more important to him. But this is where it gets disappointing. He's going to try to be a jokester again next episode. I feel like this moment should have been more consequential. And I already predict what I'll probably say next week. This episode should maybe have been swapped with episode 8. Or this episode should have played out a little bit differently. You can't just play a big point of no return moment and have it be undone by the next episode. Not if it's the biggest character moment so far, at least that is my opinion. I know these episodes are pretty episodic in nature, but in my opinion this was the perfect opportunity to have Tylor's one chance to become a jokester moment. Okay, but going back to the beginning of the episode, there's a lot to like here. So Monstropolis is plagued by a heat wave. I feel like most shows that have episodic episodes do make sure to include a story with extreme heat, disrupting everything. So in Monsters at Work, of course there is a story where a heat wave plagues Monstropolis, and we get all these funny puns, like Tylor saying, "Hey Duncan, who's that right next to you? That's your biggest fan." And when all the drooler cooler cans from what Val calls her drooler cooler tower collapses, Fritz saying like, "Oh, just when it was getting cool." You know, this whole opening scene was pun after pun after pun, and because it was just a little bit too much maybe, that is what made it kind of funny to me. So we cut to Mike Wazowski on the laugh floor, and he's being told that the heat wave is taking up too much energy, so there needs to be more laughs to produce more power than is even possible at a regular effort. Celia points out, we're on the verge of losing business to Fear Co., which is the second biggest energy company. Which does leave me wonder, by the way, is Fear Co. even... are they still doing scare power? Is that still legal in Monstropolis? Has only Monsters Incorporated switched to laugh power? I would really dig a storyline where we see more of Fear Co., maybe in a contest between them and Monsters Incorporated to once and for all prove which energy source is more resourceful. I would really like to see a story like that, but that discussion is for another time, I guess. So because of the heat crisis, the decision is made to have a bunch of inexperienced monsters also do a bunch of the jokester work. And I was wondering, why isn't there a lot of hardworking monsters already doing their job here at the floor? Like, it felt a bit weird that the club Tylor's in is the only club going to lab duty, but maybe it was already after work hours? Who knows? Okay, something gets stuck within the machine or something. Isn't really important what it was. Tylor needs to fix something, but accidentally gets stuck in the system with his horns. And I truly believe now that his design was influenced by this scene, because these horns perfectly fit. And it was loads of fun, at least for me, to see all these internal halls where these doors go through, these channels, to get them to the lab floor. I even felt a little nostalgic to once again go back to the inside of this Monsters Incorporated system. If we ever find ourselves revisiting the whole warehouse where all the doors are stored and kept safe, I will be a happy guy. After all sorts of shenanigans, Tylor gets trapped into the ice world we know from the original movie, and I loved the Empire Strikes Back reference where he's hanging upside down and is trying to reach his lightsaber, I mean his chicken. What I also like about this episode is how Adorable, previously known as Abominable, is now redeemed in a way. He finally got what he deserves, so it's like ending a dangling threat from the original movie I wasn't even realizing would be satisfying to see resolved. Adorable is now unbanished. He's given the chance to sell his ice cones, which I still believe are made out of pee, the yellow ones anyways. But, you know, don't think about that for too long. I think this episode is one of the weaker ones, though. I know I sound really enthusiastic. I love talking about this show, and I believe there are 3 reasons why I don't really love this episode, some of which I can put into words more easily than others. The first one is one I already discussed. The big point of no return within this episode where Tylor chooses to go back for Adorable is being retconned next week, so it's not even used as a big change of direction for the character. Maybe retconned is a big word, but I think you know what I mean. Second, and I can't believe I'm saying this, the Miffed team is not a presence felt in this episode. We see a lot of Tylor meandering around the halls, looking for Adorable, sometimes Val jumps in to fix something, but the core team, I missed them a little bit here. The group I initially, after the first 2 episodes, really disliked, are missed. It doesn't make this episode bad or anything, but it does make me leave this episode with the feeling there's something to be desired, you know? And third, Adorable is being accepted a little bit too easily in this episode, and it made the ending feel a little bit cheap and sudden. This is a monster that has been banned from this world for years and years, and the moment he returns, it's fine for everybody. I know, we all like his presence, his character was pretty enjoyable overall in this episode, but for all the characters to accept him just like that was a little disappointing. Why not have one last big hunt where everybody, except for Tylor and Val, go after him and you know, with all the pitchforks and all, and make it have a little more weight when Tylor convinces everybody he's okay? I am not a big fan of this episode for these 3 reasons I mentioned, but I did like things about it. The humor was pretty consistent, the world building was good, you know, it was fine, but I don't have a lot more to say actually. When life throws you a snowball, make snow cones. That is one of the memorable lines this week, and I like the heart-to-heart moment between Adorable and Tylor, where Tylor talks about this being his only chance to become a jokester, and Adorable essentially saying, you know, you also just have to make something out of the stuff that life throws at you. And that is something Tylor definitely needs to hear. I'm thinking about wrapping this up. Thank you so much for watching. I'm curious, what did you think of this episode? Be sure to let me know in the comment section. Don't forget, if you enjoy the idea of discussing Disney Plus content with us, that red button looks familiar, right? And if you're interested in thoughts on previous episodes, it's all in the description, or you can browse the channel page. Did you like this video? Then be sure to consider giving that a click. Thanks. My thoughts on the new Goofy shorts will come to you very soon, as well as Turner and Hooch and Marvel's What If. For now, have a wonderful day and see ya.